No one knows exactly how long this car had been standing still. All that was clear was that, when we found it, time itself seemed to have forgotten it. The Toyota sat silently inside an abandoned warehouse, surrounded by dust, spiderwebs, and the heavy smell of damp air that comes from years without human presence. Faint sunlight slipped through holes in the old metal roof, revealing layers of rust covering the body. The tires were completely flat, the rubber cracked and hardened by age. Weeds had grown up through the underside, as if nature was slowly reclaiming what once moved. There was no sound, no sign of life, only the quiet weight of time. We said nothing, we simply observed. At that moment, no one could be certain whether this car could ever be saved. We began assessing its condition right where it stood. When we tried to rotate the wheels, they would not move at all. Everything was locked in place by rust. The hood opened with difficulty, releasing the dry creak of metal that had not been touched in decades. Inside the engine bay, thick dust coated every surface. Wires were stiff, hoses brittle, metal discolored by years of oxidation. This was clearly a machine that had been asleep for a very long time. The door resisted at first. Only after applying more force did it slowly open, metal grinding against metal. Inside, the cabin was buried under dust. The seats were faded, the steering wheel dry and worn, the dashboard frozen in another era. Everything pointed to one simple truth. This car had been abandoned for a very long time. And yet, in that moment, hope quietly appeared. We decided to bring the Toyota back to the garage. Pulling it out of the warehouse was no easy task. The wheels refused to turn, forcing the car to drag across the ground. The towing cable tightened, the winch worked slowly, and every small movement required effort. Dust rose as the car left the place it had occupied for so many years. This was the transition, from forgotten to possible. Once in the garage, the cleaning process began. Water touched the body for the first time in decades. Mud, grime, and layers of dirt slowly washed away, revealing the old paint beneath. Not everything looked good, but every clean surface felt like progress. Rust was scraped away piece by piece. Dust was blown from hidden corners. The engine bay was carefully cleaned, revealing details long concealed. The car was beginning to show its true form. Next came disassembly. The wheels were removed first, exposing a braking system worn and corroded by time. Brake components were seized, rust deeply embedded into the metal. The engine was lifted from the car and placed on the garage floor, like an aging heart waiting for care. The transmission, the fuel system, every major component was removed for inspection. Nothing was hidden. Every flaw was visible. Rust, wear, and the marks of time covered nearly every part. But alongside the damage, we saw potential. Components that could be restored, parts that could be replaced, possibilities that still existed. Restoration began. The engine was rebuilt step by step. Old seals and gaskets were replaced. Fuel injectors were carefully cleaned, removing years of built-up residue. Rusted bolts were replaced with new hardware. The frame and body were treated and repainted, not to make the car perfect, but to make it strong and honest again. Every step was slow, deliberate, unrushed. Then came reassembly. The engine returned to the engine bay. Components were installed one by one, carefully and precisely. The interior was put back together, cleaner, simpler, but still true to its past. The difference between before and after grew more visible with each step. The Toyota was becoming a car again. Then came the most important moment. Fuel was poured into the tank, the battery was connected, everything was checked one last time. There was no music, no talking, only silence and tension. The key turned, the engine struggled, then struggled again, a brief pause, and then it started. Not loudly, but clearly, enough to know that life had returned. The engine vibrated gently, like a heartbeat restarting after a long sleep. Finally, the car was taken out for a test drive. It moved slowly, wheels rolling steadily along the road. A low camera angle showed stability where there had once been none. Natural light reflected softly across the body. Not dramatic, not perfect, but real. This Toyota was no longer forgotten.